Our focus today is what's commonly called the gender wage gap. So in many different kinds of career fields, including several Texas state agencies, male workers remain better compensated than female workers. That's on average. The Texas Tribune, our coverage partners in Austin, put out these numbers that show you what we're talking about. So the data shows that women who work for the teacher retirement system are making about $30,000 less than men in their field. Other state agencies with high gender wage gaps are the Department of Public Safety, the Texas Education Agency, and the governor's office. But beyond wage gaps within career fields, a new study by job site Glassdoor looked at almost 50,000 resumes and saw that women just tend to choose college majors that lead to far less profitable careers. So some of the lowest paying majors include social work, child development, early childhood and elementary education, child and family studies. These are the mid-career wages that you're looking at right there, what you could potentially make after you've been working there for a while. The thing is, these majors are dominated by women, averaging about 80% women for the major. Some of the highest paying majors: petroleum engineering, computer science engineering, aeronautical engineering, physical and mathematics, and electrical engineering. You're sensing a trend. These are, you guessed it, about 80% male dominated majors. Joining us now via Skype is Catherine Mars. She's an education consultant with Mars College Admission Advisors. She's joining us from Dallas. So, Catherine, when you see these numbers that suggest that young women just tend to pick majors that lead to lower paying jobs than men, what are your first thoughts?
Well, my first thoughts are it goes back to elementary school. You know, when kids first get into school, it's still a traditional thing that girls aren't supposed to like math and science. And so that kind of starts the trend there. And even though it's much more prevalent today for students to cross over, in other words, there are a lot of male nurses now, whereas there used to be traditionally only women. And same thing with the engineering field. There are becoming more and more women in engineering.
You, as an education consultant, speaking to these young people when they're 17, 18 years old, making these huge decisions, what do you tell young women or young men regarding which major they should choose?
Well, we start with an issue of what do they enjoy? What is their favorite subject in school? And if they say math and science, then certainly we're going to explore all the STEM professions and maybe medicine or research science. But if they say, oh, well, you know, I'm not very good at math, or I don't like math, or I don't like science, but I love foreign language, well, then we kind of talk about, well, if you get a foreign language degree, what do you think you might do with it? You know, and then we explore the issue of salaries and the issue of needing graduate degrees to go on to be possibly a college professor.
Absolutely. So you do go over those practical points with them. But what you're saying is that society sort of is still, even these days, ingrained some of those gender roles into career paths. Interesting. So is there a way when you're talking to these young people to balance pursuing what you love and pursuing a career that is going to make you financially comfortable? If it comes between the two of those, how do you choose?
Well, I think that first of all, it really does have to be something that you enjoy. So if a student comes in and says, I'm passionate about art or I'm passionate about foreign language, well, then we explore the issue that you're going to have to go to probably a liberal arts college. And 1 out of 3 kids changes their major once they get there. But if they are indeed thinking that they're going to do a foreign language or political science or English, then they need to go to they need to go to a college where they have a good career center, so that the student has access to job opportunities and internships and research opportunities so they can develop skills on their resume. So when they do graduate with their degree in French, they've had some jobs and they've had some experience in the workforce and they have some skills. So that even though they came out with a soft degree, so to speak, from a liberal arts college, they still are marketable. The other side of it is that there's studies that show that 20 years down the road, if there's been a student who went through engineering but was miserable and very unhappy, that 20 years down the road, the liberal arts kid who followed their dream and followed their passion with French or whatever, they're going to be making about the same amount of money.
When you're talking to these young people, or when you're advising parents on talking to their young people, what do you want parents to be telling their kids throughout their life as they're growing up about their passions, and about maybe their passions that don't conform to these gender statistics that we see?
Well, I think that everything needs to be balanced with reality. So parents need to definitely, especially when it comes time to start talking about college, is they need to talk about return on investment. And if they're going to major in a liberal arts field that's going to require graduate work or a professional degree beyond the undergraduate degree, they need to talk reality about the cost of college and possibly figuring out ways so that they have no debt when they come out as an undergraduate to go on to graduate school.
All right, Catherine Mars, an education consultant, thank you so much for joining us from Dallas.
Thank you very much.
All right, stick with us on First News at 4. We're continuing this conversation, talking to Aggie STEM about opportunities for women and everyone. Stick with us.
You're watching First News at 4 with Kathleen Whitty and Weather with Carly Cassidy on KBTX News 3. The people you know, the news you trust.